So Northern Devs is a software and web development studio based out of Kitchener. We are a mighty team of 4, and we specialize in proof of concept and early stage tech development for startups usually, or medium-sized companies. And the reason we kind of picked that niche is we said, look, we've been in startup spaces for years. We've been in tech development for years. We've made apps, we've made widgets. But the one space that's always lacking is when these companies are really early on, when they're trying to get out there and prove their business, there's not a lot of resources for them to tap into. There's not many ways for them to make apps. There's not many ways to do X, Y, and Z. And by addressing that niche, we've carved out a great opportunity. We have a lot of internal efficiencies that allow us to help these startups the best. I think the biggest challenge we faced when, with our business getting started was, I'll say there's 2, because one leads into the other. First is getting your first customer. That's really one of the trickiest things to do, is get your foot in the door. But that really stems from needing to build some confidence in your business and in yourself. And I think that was a really big hurdle for, I'm a perfectionist by nature, and so is one of my team members. And challenging ourselves to kind of jump over that hurdle and to go head first into it was one of the hardest things to do, was to just get out there. Once you're out there, it's a lot easier. Overcome that challenge, well, it's so much of it is just reminding yourself that you're in this program, you're doing this, you're doing your best, you're doing everything you can to succeed, and just I know it sounds so cheesy to say, but just believing in yourself, just betting on it, right? Just saying, I think I can, and jumping into it. And preparing yourself as much as you comfortably can while realizing that you can't know everything. I think that's huge for getting started. It's great. GigLab community is great. A lot of it speaks to kind of a network of people who are all striving for the same betterment, right? Being able to, attend the events or be a part of, the community that is always trying to further itself, right? It's very powerful, and there's a lot to be said about being with people with like minds or like interests. It makes you go further, right? So I think the environment that GigLab's kind of created is really healthy for encouraging people to push themselves more and kind of take their customers and their opportunities to new heights. Yeah, we actually have one with Kai Prince as he focuses on a lot of accessibility for websites and web pages. We had a client who specifically targets and supports people with accessibility needs. And, we may be a very powerful dev shop. We may have a lot of tools in our toolbox, but one of them isn't working with accessibility certifications. So we had to look outside and say, okay, who do we know who can support on this? Who's going to be a great fit? And we found one right next door. Well, a lot of our hopes for Northern Devs and the way we want to grow is our goal is to support as many startups as we can, right? Our goal is to make the startup ecosystem and the first steps entrepreneurs take as easy as possible, or as low friction from, unfair blockers, unfair spaces, less equitable spaces. And we're doing that continuously by creating more efficient processes to help startups get onboarded onto our services as easy as possible. So our goal is to grow our ability to support startups. And that's our next step. I think the advice I'd give to someone who's starting their business is just start, 1. 2, always be ready to learn, and always be ready to learn that you're wrong. And 3, buckle up. Yeah, that's the main things. All of that's really important. I think if I was to say to somebody who's not sure, pursue the opportunity. See what's out there. There's a reason that you thought about it in the first place. And if you're on the fence, give it a shot. It's a really powerful experience. And I think, if that's something, even if you don't instantly go into freelancing, you walk away with some incredible skills.